All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros podcast. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, and today we are breaking down a now once in every 4 years event, the FIFA Club World Cup. That's right, the best club team in the world will be crowned this summer, and for the first time ever, it'll be held stateside here across various venues in the U.S., and lending his expertise, joining us all the way from South Africa, is a guy who lives and breathes soccer, or football as he calls it. He's Fynn from Fynn Krause Football here on YouTube. Fynn, thanks for making time for us. How are you today, my friend?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I am tremendously excited for today's video, and I am doing so well. I think we've got some exciting kind of football over the next, as you said, football over the next month or two. Obviously, I'm excited to see some of the African representatives and just clubs from all around the world. I'm super excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's a very, very fun time in the soccer world right now with all these different clubs coming to the U.S. this summer. Looking forward to it. And on today's program in particular, it'll look like this. We'll get into the tournament facts and various future betting markets, including tournament winners, group winners, player props, and of course, some golden boot picks to round us out. But before we get going, I first want to shout out everyone who's watching on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or listening on the audio feed. The easiest way to support us is give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let's go ahead, Fynn. Let's jump into the tournament format. The general format for this thing looks like this. There are 32 teams that qualified from 6 international confederations. The group stage is comprised of 4 clubs per group with 8 groups in total. Each group will be decided by a single game round-robin format. The top 2 teams per group advance to the round of 16, and then it's a single match elimination tournament from there, the round of 16 all the way to the finals, and there's no third place playoff in this tournament as well, Fynn.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They knew Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa would win it, so they didn't want to give us an easy one there. I think the format, I'm excited to see it because I believe it's a new format that's being used.
Yes, expanded a little bit here, and this has changed shape a little bit as the event itself. We used to have this thing yearly, didn't have it a couple years in the early 2000s, but now I think this really does belong in once in every 4-year event because it's special, right? And I think having it every year kind of diluted it a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm excited to see kind of not just the games itself, but kind of how fans kind of take it in and react. I think it's going to take some time, but I really do think people from around the world are going to love it.
There are 12 venues for the games, including in Atlanta, Georgia, Cincy, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, the Rose Bowl, Los Angeles, California, getting a game as well. Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, that's where the opening match will be held. Also, there will be some matches in Nashville, Orlando, Philadelphia, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and of course, MetLife Stadium, New York, New Jersey, where the final will be held, as well as the semifinal matches. And Fynn, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but usually these stadiums traditionally have turf on them, and they have since removed the turf, put in grass, which the NFL players are very upset about because they've been asking for all grass stadiums for quite some time. But they made an exception here for the FIFA Club World Cup, and looks like everyone should be playing on some good grass. But usually MetLife, just a host of injuries usually come out of there for NFL football. But you guys are getting the best from us this year.
Yeah, you know what? It's all about the experience. It's all about the experience. I'm excited to kind of see how everyone adjusts to all the finer details, let's say.
Yeah, and the group stage will be kicking off on June 14th with MLS host team Inter Miami getting things going in their home stadium down there in South Beach. And the round of 16 will then begin in Philadelphia in June. The quarterfinals then are going to start on July 4th, semifinals on July 8th, and the FIFA Club World Cup final, match 61 of this tournament, kicks off on July 13th in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And Fynn, there's going to be a lot of soccer being played in just under a month, so obviously health and rest will be a huge factor in this thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we live in such, geez, I don't even know how to explain it, but there's a game every single 3 days. And I mean, we see the injuries pick up. I think we kind of see players express kind of their exhaustion. So I do think, you know what, as long as players come out of the other end okay, I mean, I'm excited for it. Of course, I'm a football fan. I want to watch as many games
Yeah.
as possible. But you know what? As you said, you've hit the nail on the head. I think recovery is going to be so important here.
Looking at some of the favorites coming from FanDuel, they include Real Madrid plus 410, PSG plus 470, Man City at 5-1, Bayern Munich 7-1, Chelsea 10-1, Atletico Madrid 15-1, Inter 17-1, Dortmund coming in at 26-1, and that's pretty much the top of the board here, Finn. So are you liking any of these heavy favorites to potentially make a run deep into the FIFA Club World Cup? Or do you have maybe some longer shots? What are you seeing out there for your favorite winners picks for this thing?
Well, I mean, in terms of my top three, especially, I do think without it being a surprise, I don't want to be a buzzkill, but I do see them being those top teams. Just because, once again, we've realized with even the new Champions League format this year that, you know what, the dead wood or the dead weight will kind of be lost along the way. I do see it being top teams. I think if you had to look at my top three, do you want to hear my first, second, third, or do you want me to go third, second, first?
Whichever way you want to do it, brother.
Well, I do think third place, I'm probably going to go for PSG. I know they've just won the Champions League. In fact, they picked up a trophy left, right, center, wherever
Yeah.
they could. They've obviously got a phenomenal squad. We saw that with a lot of their players, obviously winning the Nations League with Portugal as well. I think they are looking phenomenal. I do think PSG probably my third best team there, just because I do think that they are going to be tied. They've got a young squad. Maybe that experience, I don't know. We'll see if it plays a role later on. I think in terms of my second favorite team, I mean, I'll be honest, my first and second's between Real Madrid and Manchester City. And I do think that's a tricky one. I'm going for Real Madrid in first with Man City in second. Obviously, Man City, we know they've kind of brought in a lot of very exciting talent over the last few weeks with Ace
Yes.
Nuri, Chekri, Reinders. I mean, it's a very exciting squad. We'll see how they kind of adjust without Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, as we know, super, super talented. They didn't have the best Premier League season last season or any competition. They
Right.
didn't win any silverware. Very, very shocking. But yeah, I have to go for Real Madrid. When it comes to winning
Yeah.
trophies, this team knows how to do it. I think it'll take a tiny bit of time for Trent Alexander-Arnold to kind of adjust. We've seen players join the squad and it takes a bit of time. I know Mbappe had a phenomenal year, but he took a bit of time to kind of roll into it. We've seen obviously Eden Hazard in the past that didn't adjust straight away. Vinicius Jr. took some time. Trent could take time, but once again, it's an elite club that knows how to win silverware.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And it's been kind of fun to see Madrid's evolution here. This isn't the same Madrid team that we remember from our father's days or even when we were growing up. It's definitely created a different vibe. But at the same time, when you have arguably the best player in the world on your side, things are going to look up for Real Madrid. And Man City's a tough one for me, man, because they just, I followed the EPL heavily. I bet it heavily. And Man City really let me down a few different spots here this past season. And they are bringing in a lot of fresh talent for this tournament. But at the same time, can they gel quickly? That's my big question, because it feels like outside of Holland, what do we have? I don't feel like we have any certainty there. He's minus 210 to be the top goal scorer on his team. So obviously it's him and it's a lot of other players that have potential, but will they be able to gel quickly? That's, I think, my biggest thing. And, from your soccer viewing and wagering experience, do you find that these teams can come together quickly, or is it something that, hey, it might not be till, late into the group stage that these guys are really clicking?
I think it's going to be late into the group stage. Once again, I'm going to refer to the Champions League and European competitions as a whole last season, the season that's just finishes. A lot of the top teams really only kind of kicked into later stages. Many people weren't backing PSG, for example,
Yeah.
until they got to the quarterfinals, semi-final. Once again, we know Man City, although they ended up falling off anyway, they didn't have a great group stage. I don't think Real Madrid were phenomenal anyway in the group stage or either in the group stage. I think it's going to take some time to maybe click for some of them. Obviously depending on how difficult their group is. I don't think it's going to be quite cutthroat and quite as black and white as many people think.
Okay. Well, Finn, do you have a best value bet for your tournament winners? A team that's potentially down the board a little bit, that maybe it's a long shot. We're not going to hold it to you, but someone that maybe if we want something a little more interesting than the chalk at the top of the board.
I'm so tempted to say Mamelodi Sundowns, but the South African in me will press that down a tiny bit. I'm going to go for Borussia Dortmund here. I know technically they are considered a top team, but
Mhm.
obviously they had a very, very slow start to their Bundesliga season. It's only when Kovac kind of came in, he kind of brought the team back to the top four in the Bundesliga, qualifying for the Champions League. A lot of talent in their team. Obviously, they've got a new Bellingham as well. I do think Borussia Dortmund will kind of be a bit of an underdog, although still a big name.
Yeah, I think that's a trendy pick, man. We've seen their odds actually drop a little bit since opening, originally closer to 30-1. So I think they've had a little bit of action on them. So I don't think you're alone in liking them as a trendy underdog. Let's go ahead though, Finn. Let's move to some favorite future bets of yours, whether that's a club to potentially win a group, whether that's a club just to make to the semis, the quarters. Do you have anything in these markets that could be of interest to us?
Okay, here I am jumping in with my Sundowns pick. Mamelodi Sundowns will make it out of their group. And I'm saying that not just as a biased fan, but looking at their group, they've got Fluminense in there, which many people obviously looking at Brazilian football, they are bound to back them. Borussia Dortmund should win their group. They've also got the likes of the South Korean Olsen in there. I don't see Mamelodi Sundowns not making it out of a group like that.
Wow.
They've just won their 8th consecutive South African League title, becoming the most successful team in South African football history. They've just made it to the final of the African Champions League. I mean, majority of their squad makes up the South African national team that got 3rd place in the most recent AFCON. I'm backing these boys to make it at least to the next stage. They will make it out of the group.
Okay, and there are 6-1 value right now for bettors out there. So plus 600, that's some great value if you like the Sundowns there to potentially ride with them. I certainly do, because it feels like outside of Dortmund, that is really kind of a group that's up in the air. They're Group F to qualify over there. You can find, again, on FanDuel, 6-1 for the Sundowns to make it out. I like that play. Anything else you have for us in the futures?
You know what? I don't know if I've got anything that's particularly exciting. I
Mhm.
would be surprised if some of the big boys, like let's say a Real Madrid and a Manchester City, I'm expecting those two teams to at least make the semifinals. I'd be surprised if they didn't at least do that.
Yeah.
Once again, I would say maybe the final as well, but we both have seen teams kind of wobble here and
Yeah.
there. As things have kind of progressed. But you know what? Maybe I'm going to go for Atletico Madrid to the quarters at least as well. I'd be surprised if they
Okay.
didn't do that.
Okay, yeah, Atletico Madrid, certainly getting at least okay value on them, plus 115. So we are getting some plus money value there. And the other two that you mentioned, Real Madrid, PSG, Man City, those three to all make the semifinals. Real Madrid minus 115, PSG plus 115, Man City plus 125. So some good value there. Honestly, like I think that's probably going to be the market that I'm exploring the most, because unlike a lot of these futures that we're betting, whether it's for a club championship, something like that, we're only tying our unit allocation up for about, a little under a month here. So you can be cashed out here. And to get plus money, I thought on PSG, it is a really good value, especially coming off just a sensational run there in the Champions League, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, they might sound like boring picks, but you know what? They're well-established clubs for a reason, you know?
Yeah. The big dogs eat, as we like to say over
Mm,
here. So
exactly.
totally agree with you there, man. Let's go ahead before we keep it moving. If you're looking for a smarter way to play, then you got to be checking out this new sports trading platform that's changing the game, and it's called Novig. It's legal in most states, including Georgia, California, and Texas. It's peer-to-peer, which means you're competing against other users and not the house. You can often get better lines than traditional books, and you can often set your own lines, which gives you more control than most sports books that just aren't offering this. There are no commissions and no hidden fees. Seriously, it uses a coin deposit system, but it's real money. And you can use the code DailyJuice for a 50% off on your first coin purchase up to $25. Check it out now at bettingpros.com bettingpros.com/juice. That's bettingpros.com/juice. Our colleague, our editor-in-chief here at Betting Pros, Mike Mayer, he's on it every single day. He's a Novig fanatic. He's always dropping screenshots, his favorite picks in our Discord. So make sure you're hitting up Mike if you have any questions, and he's happy to help. And Fynn, let's go ahead. Let's move forward here with some early matches. What are 3 of your most exciting matches, whether they're high-profile teams, heavy-value games? What are you seeing out there that us as fans and bettors should be paying attention to when this thing kicks off?
Okay, well, I mean, I definitely want to bring some attention to some of the lower games as well. But obviously, by the way, I'm just reading my notes here. In terms of some of the bigger profile games, I think looking at the likes of, who do I start with here? Man City versus Juventus. That's bound to be an exciting game here. As we know, Juventus aren't quite at the heights that they used to be a few years ago. But simultaneously, once again, Man City didn't have a great season last year in the Prem. But they've brought in some exciting signings. I'm expecting that to be a very high-profile game. I'm expecting that to be a very high-scoring game at the same time. It's not the Champions League. It's not the Premier League. I can see these teams being a little less conservative. I can definitely see more than 2 goals in a game like that, 100%. I think that could be very, very exciting. In terms of maybe a less profile game, once again, I'm going to back my teams from South Africa, or my team, Mamelodi Sundowns versus Ulsan from South Korea. I'm telling you, this is the game that is going to prove my point from earlier in terms of Sundowns. They've got very exciting players in their team. I mean, their goalkeeper, Ronwin Williams, came 9th place in last year's Yashin Award, the first ever locally based African player to do so. So, you know what? Once again, I'm going to go for Sundowns there. And I think the game overall, once again, I'm going to say less than 2 goals because I think they're going to be efficient. But yeah, I think they're also going to be careful defensively. And maybe in terms of the third game, once again, there are a few high-profile ones here. But I'm going for Real Madrid versus Al Hilal. Obviously, the Saudi club with all the talent in the world. They can bring in whoever they want. Not my Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United, though. He won't be joining. But yeah, I do think them versus Real Madrid could be a very exciting game. And you know what? Whoever scores the goals, I'm sure Real Madrid will win that one. I'm going to say a minimum of 3 goals in a game like that.
Okay, so breaking down a couple of these first, going back to your Sundowns in their first matchup here. If you like them on the money line, plus 185 to win straight up. So is that how you think you would play them? Is maybe just going with the money line there? Or would you maybe consider a draw no bet where, hey, we're still cashing at even money if the Sundowns win, but if it's a draw, we're still getting our unit allocation back. How do you think you would play that?
You know what? I really want to back this team. I've seen them live.
Okay.
They are a phenomenal team. I back them money line. I'm 100% backing them for the win here.
Okay, awesome. And when it comes to Real Madrid here, going up against the Korean team, they're heavy favorites, minus 400 to win it. But I think one of the ways we could get into this is the first half money line. Do you expect Real Madrid to come out firing like I do? Because they're minus 170 to win the first half of the game. And to me, I feel like that could be potentially a really nice play for us. And potentially, if we're also looking for over, you said over 2.5 goals as well, we could certainly jump on that as well. What do you think, though? Do you think maybe a first half money line on Real Madrid is in play?
Yeah, I think there are definitely a few factors that come into play. Once again, I'm semi-nervous to see how Trent kind of transitions into this team, but I'll tend to do that. I'll tend to go for a first half money line there. I think it's possible.
Okay. And then if you did want to go with a Real Madrid win and the over 2.5 goals, that's minus 155. So, you know, nothing that's going to certainly pay the bills, not going to take your wife out for a steak dinner or anything, but certainly something that's going to continue to help build that betting bankroll as we move throughout the tournament. So I like those plays quite a bit. I do have to ask you, because I think it's on every U.S. soccer fan's mind right now. What do you think of Inter Miami in this first match of the opening tournament? They're right now plus 105 on the money line. I don't know much about the opponent they're facing. Al Ashlai Caro. I don't even know if I pronounced that right here, Fynn. But can you tell us a little bit more about these squads, and are you expecting Messi and the boys to show up on their home turf in their home stadium?
Once again, as an African football team, I really do have a lot of respect for the team from Egypt. I think Al Ahly, if you look at them as a whole, they are one of the, if not the most decorated club in football history. I
Oh,
mean, they are the
wow.
most successful. Yeah, I mean, they win trophies left, right, and center. They did win the Egyptian league this season, but that was only after the playoffs. In the regular season, they did lose to Pyramids, who ended up winning the CAF Champions League. But this
Okay.
is the most successful team in Africa. They are once again also an absolutely phenomenal team. And I think once again, maybe globally at the moment, they don't have as big a name of as Miami, purely because you've got Messi, Beckham, everyone, all these big names related to the club. It's not going to be easy for Miami. I really, really don't
Mm.
think so. I think looking at the group as a whole, with the likes of who else is in there, Palmeiras as well, Porto, it is a very, very tricky group. I would not be surprised if Miami did somehow end up getting grouped here, to be 100% honest with you, just out of respect of what the other teams can do. I don't
Okay.
necessarily think Miami are a bad team, but I think many could sleep on their opposition. I think Al Ahly could be a real threat here.
Okay, very, very interesting. And yeah, yeah, man, it's been a fun ride over here in the States since Messi came over. And I know a lot of Miami fans are certainly hoping that we can continue that success here with a deep run. But Finn's saying, hey, maybe not so fast, my friend. Any other betting angles that we should be considering for these games? Obviously, past performance is going to come into this, motivation. Travel's a big one for some of these teams coming from overseas, fatigue. Like, how do you parse this out? Is there one factor that's bigger than others, or is it kind of just a melting pot of all these things coming together for 1 month here in the U.S.?
You know what? I think it might have to be the melting pot. At the end of the day, although you could say this about a team or that about a team,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a football game is not played on paper, it's played on the pitch, and absolutely anything can happen on its day. I mean, if that wasn't the case, then Plymouth wouldn't have beaten Liverpool this season,
True.
so
True.
anything can happen on its day. All I'm going to say is don't disrespect the teams that aren't from Europe. I would say recognize the global kind of love of the game and the global ability of other teams.
Yeah, and that was kind of my question for you is like, I feel like Europe is just everyone is putting all their money on them. I mean, they're minus 1,000 for the winning continent in this. Europe is South America plus 800. The rest of the world 16-1 to win this. So, do you think there's any chance that someone outside of Europe could actually win this thing and they're worth maybe investing, even if it's just a little sprinkle, Finn? Or do you think that's more just a donation to the sports books?
Well, I think at the end of the day, although I should respect the other teams, I
Yeah.
do see it being a European here.
Okay.
Although perhaps a team like River Plate, once again, they're kind of fans. We know they go crazy. We know their ability from Argentina. Maybe they could surprise. As you said, a lot of the other South American teams, whether it be Palmeiras, they could surprise as well.
Mhm.
Maybe Boca Juniors. I think all of those teams have potential to get out of that group stage to maybe further advance. But at the end of the day, I do think it will be a European winning
Okay.
this one.
Okay. Well, good to know. Let's go ahead and let's move forward with some player props. Finn, anything you're liking out there, whether it's the team's top goal scorer or anything else player wise? Because for me, I think my favorite play of this entire tournament is, I'm taking the chalk once again, but Messi to be the top Miami goal scorer. I know they got Suarez in the mix over there now as well. But Messi, even in his elder age, is still putting up points. He has 4 more goals scored than the next closest player on this team in MLS play. So I'm taking Messi to go plus 110 as the top goal scorer at DraftKings. And then I also have a little bit of a parlay here. I have Mbappe to be, of course, his team's top scorer in this tournament as well. And then Haaland as well to be his for Man City. So it's minus 230 for Haaland, minus 200 from Mbappe. You put those together plus 115. So that's a little parlay action I got going on player props. Anything you like out there?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with your picks. In fact, I think Mbappe, especially with the group that they have with RB Salzburg, Al Hilal,
Mm-hmm.
and Pachuca as well, I think Mbappe will be the outright top goal scorer of this competition.
Oh,
I think that's very, very possible. In terms of kind of other clubs, once again, representing my love for African football, Garassi should be Borussia Dortmund's top goal scorer, especially after his Champions League campaign last year, once again, you could go for another easy one with Harry Kane at Bayern Munich. Yeah, I think once again, these boys are elite for a reason. They've made a name for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a trip down that golden boot market, because I think it's such an interesting one with so many of the top players. Real quick, who's the best player in the world right now that we're not going to see in this tournament, you think? Is it the easy, like the big elephant in the room?
Mo Salah? That's my answer.
Okay.
That's my answer. As a Manchester United fan, that's my answer. I mean, he almost had the outright best ever individual Premier League season. Even though I'm a United fan, I can respect game. I can see the fact that what he does, even though he's getting older, I would say I would put Salah in that mix. It's sad that we won't see Ronaldo in the competition.
That was who I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, but to me, it's Mo Salah based on what he can currently do. Ronaldo, he's playing where he currently is at Al Nassr because he can't play for a top European team, in my opinion.
Oh.
Salah is playing for a top European team that has just won the most competitive league in the world.
Okay, well, fair enough. I think everyone thinks Ronaldo still might have it when it comes to the international stage, but I certainly agree with you that there is a reason that he kind of took the bag and ran with it. And whether it's in soccer, going over to these Saudi-backed teams, or whether it's been golf with a live tour starting over there as well, sometimes you just lose your competitive edge when you're not playing against the best competition. But as we mentioned here in the Golden Boot market, it is Mbappe that is going to be that favorite still at plus 550. So I still think you're getting a really good value there. Haaland comes in plus 650, Harry Kane plus 750 as well. So would it be one of those three that you think are going to make a deep run and be the top goal scorer and win that Golden Boot award?
Yeah, I totally think so. Look, as I said, I'm kind of backing Mbappe for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if versus Auckland City, if Harry Kane scored 5 goals past them and that kind of took him to the top. It could be one of those, but I would tend to back Mbappe.
Okay, awesome. Well, good to hear that. Any long shots for the Golden Boots? Anyone from your Sundowns or anyone that you think maybe could pull off a little bit of an upset here?
Oh, I would love to back one of the Sundowns boys. We've got some really, really good, some exciting players at the moment. But unfortunately, once again, I think in order to be the top goal scorer, you have to make quite a deep run into the tournament. Once again, that's where I have to go back once again to back one of the Africans out there, Garassi. I think once again, being one of the top goal scorers in the Champions League last season, I think he's proven a point, and we have to back him once again to at least cause a tiny bit of an upset.
21-1 for him right now as well. So definitely still kind of in that mix as someone who could win this award, but still great value. So 21-1, if you want to take a little sprinkle on that and back one of Finn's guys there, might not be a bad idea. And dude, he's got a lot of talent surrounding him, right? I mean, this is a guy who is playing on a Dortmund team that I don't think it is getting the hype it deserves coming in here. So certainly a lot of potential for some high scores out there from Dortmund and company. Let's round some things out here, Fynn, with any final tips, wisdom that you can provide. We've seen a lot of different things in this tournament over the years. However, we didn't see it last year, so I think, the recency bias of it all is kind of out of people's minds. So any final thoughts, tips, anything that you can give the BettingPros viewers today?
Yeah, I think once again, kind of summarizing everything we've spoken about already. Don't sleep on those teams that aren't European. And you know what? I'm going to get in at least one more time. Back Mamelodi Sundowns to get out of their group. They will not be getting grouped. I back this team.
I love it, man. 6-1. That's Finn's play of the tournament there. And man, I know a lot of people will be happy because if you can get 6-1 on something like that you're that confident in, it's usually a great play and a great value. So Fynn, can't thank you enough for joining us today here. Can you please let everyone know how we can best find and support your work, my friend?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invite. It has been an absolute honor. I'm so excited for this tournament. Obviously, guys, make sure to subscribe to this channel itself. But yeah, Fynn Krause Football That is me. That is my name. That is I. If you want to find me, obviously on Instagram, maybe, because that also links to my YouTube. That is Finterest, Fynn Terrest.
Nice.
Pretty self-explanatory. You guys will find me somewhere.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys are opening up a new tab, checking out Fynn Krause Football here on YouTube. That's going to do it for us today on the Betting Pros podcast. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please be sure, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And don't forget to download the BettingPros app and sync your sportsbooks today. For Fynn Krause, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.